ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवम् साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणा ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमः। ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यदेशतारिणे हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जगत गुरु श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। वो एक मैसेज डाल दो वो भक्ति शास्त्री पे, क्लास हैज स्टार्टेड। ओके। Okay, we will start with chapter 7. So this is a great time to reconnect with Bhagavad Gita, because Bhagavad Gita is taking a very, very important turn from chapter 7. So perfect time to reconnect. So a quick recap is that Lord Krishna has described so far largely one path, which is a combination of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga, where the main aspect is on one's own strength controlling the mind, because controlling the mind is required for any kind of detachment, whether it is with the results or the activities or even the most basic functions of the body, including responding to the demands of the mind itself. So, dhyana is completely calming down the mind. So, that has been described so far, but Arjuna rejects that process at the end that we discussed last time. And then Lord Krishna uh, begins the discussion on bhakti, where the main difference is that one does not get or one does not have to um, accomplish the end goal by one's own effort. One's sincerity in the process is observed by Lord Krishna, and then the Lord helps the devotee to make progress. That process is called bhakti. So we will discuss that, or that whole process is going to start now. So let me share the slides. So that is the process of that we are going to discuss today. Can see the slides? Okay. So, in the last verse of chapter 6.47, very important verse, Yoginam api sarvesham madgatena antaratmana. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam same yuktah tamomatah. So, Yoginam api sarvesham, among all the yogis. So, the last 5 chapters have been all about yoga and yogis of different kinds, karma yogi, jnana yogi, dhyana yogi. Shraddhavan bhajate yomam, or madgatena antaratmana. Internally, one who focuses the mind on me. So, madgatena, one who directs his mind towards me. And Shraddhavan bhajate yomam, who does my bhajan with full faith and dedication, with Shraddha. Sa me yuktatamo. Yuktatama means he is the best engaged yogi. The yogi engaged in the best possible way. So Lord Krishna is directly, in no uncertain terms, calling such a yogi, which is Bhakti Yogi, the best among all yogis. Yoginam api sarvesham same yuktah tamomatah is the, so yoginam api sarvesham yuktatama is Bhakti Yogi. So that is how you can break up or whatever, analyze the verse. I hope you are getting it. So now what is that Bhakti Yoga is going to start. No questions by Arjuna. And now the Lord is in full gear to describe what is that Bhakti Yoga. And Arjuna is going to listen with very, very rapt attention, very, very strong attention. So there are no verses by Arjuna in this whole chapter. This whole chapter is exclusively spoken by Shri Krishna. There are many chapters like that, but this is one of them. In fact, this is the first chapter in which Arjuna has no verses. All the previous 6 chapters Arjuna spoke. First chapter he spoke a lot. Second chapter he spoke in the beginning. Then he asks towards verse number 2.54 that what are the qualities of a sthita pragya. Chapter 3 begins with Arjuna's question. Chapter 4, Arjuna asks that, about the previous incarnations or appearances of Lord Krishna. Chapter 5 also begins with Arjuna's question. Chapter 6, obviously, Arjuna asks about what happens if it's so hard to control the mind, what happens if someone fails. All 6 chapters have Arjuna's verses. This is the first chapter where Arjuna has no verses. Similarly, chapter 9 also has no verses. 8 will also have verses by Arjuna in the very beginning. Arjuna asks, what are these things? Adhyatma, adhibhautik, adhideivik, and all those things. Brahma and karma and etc. So this is the first chapter where no verses. This is a very, very serious chapter. Arguably one of the most important chapters of Bhagavad Gita. For me personally, I would say it is in the top 3 or 4 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 9, chapter 15, chapter 7, chapter 18. These would be my top 4 chapters. So chapter 7 is one of them. And Sri Adi Shankaracharya, who gave the names of the chapters and divided them into chapters, though it is quite obvious if you read it just directly, where the divisions are. It's called Jnana Yoga. We will see very soon why. So also I would like to say that if people who are joining have missed the previous portion, this is a fresh start to Bhagavad Gita. So perfect time to reconnect with Bhagavad Gita, like I said. So this is one way in which the Bhagavad Gita is organized in 3 sections. 1 to 6 is about the jiva, not much about Bhagawan. Next six chapters, 7 to 12, are all about Bhagawan, but not just at a high level, okay, primarily. So it's not just about Bhagawan, it is also how to connect with Bhagawan, okay? When we say Jiva, then it is not just about who is Jiva, but how can Jiva become happy? The process is through the process of yoga, whether it is Jnana Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Karma Yoga. Ultimately, it is about becoming happy, and ultimately becoming happy through liberation. So, Gyatva Mam Shantim Rachati, how to gain that ultimate peace or Shanti. So, all that was there in the Jiva and how to be happy, Bhagavan and how to be happy as well. In fact, tomorrow I'm giving a Sunday feast class in the temple. I'll talk all about happiness over there. So, I don't know if it will be recorded or not, but in any case, the focus will be happiness, which is all what the pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. That's enshrined in the Constitution of the United States. So, happiness is a fundamental, very, very fundamental desire, a very innate desire of the living entity is to be happy. So, how to be happy in connecting with Bhagavan and how to connect with Bhagavan. And the third chapter, the third section, 13 to 18, is all about Prakriti. We have to live in Prakriti. Prakriti means material nature. This world, this universe, this body is also Prakriti. So, how to be happy or how to best be in harmony with Prakriti. So, to understand Prakriti and to therefore be happy in Prakriti. Another way of dividing these these sections is that the first 6 chapters talk about karma, jnana, and dhyana yoga. Okay, from a process perspective. The next 6 talk about bhakti yoga, and then the last 6 talk about the reconciliation of the two. It's not a waste. The understanding of karma, jnana, and dhyana is not a waste. So, how do we reconcile the two? How do we use these processes for bhakti? So, bhakti is, in a sense, a very integral part of the last 6 chapters as well. So, basically, we can say from now onwards, Bhagavad Gita will exclusively focus on bhakti as the main process, as the primary process. If you have any questions, you can raise your hand at any time. Otherwise, we'll keep going. So, Lord Krishna will show an alternative path. And you can see here, I should have put that picture towards the end, but forgot the animation sequence. So, make a note of that. So, Lord Krishna says in 7.1, this is what I'm saying here. The beginning is that he has spoken for all these 5 chapters from 2 to 6 that you can do what you can do yourself. So the focus is yourself. And when I say yourself, we should add the word only yourself. Okay. So all the processes are to be done on the strength of the practitioner or the sadhak. Okay. In Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga, everything is on your own strength. And then you said it is impossible for you, isn't it? So he said that Chanchalam hi manah Krishna pramathi balavadrham. What's the next line? Tasyaham nigraham manye vayuriva sudushkaram. I cannot control the mind. I can control the wind if you want, but I cannot control the mind. It is so hard. So he said, almost impossible to control the mind. So Lord Krishna is saying, I am telling you an alternative where I will help. So in the staircase, you have to put your energy to climb the stairs. In the elevator, the electricity or whatever helps. The external energy helps. Yes, you have to do your part. Now, please don't misunderstand that this is some kind of a spoon feeding or some kind of a I will sit and twiddle my thumbs and somebody else will do everything for me. But the analogy, therefore, is not very good. In that sense, it is not good. It is very good analogy, but you can think like I still have to enter the elevator and press the button. It sounds very simple, but Bhakti Yoga, I mean, the point is the relative difference between Bhakti and the path of Jnana is humongous. In Bhakti, in the light of Jnana Yoga is very simple. If you compare Jnana to climbing 10 stairs, 10 floors, Bhakti is like pressing a button. But don't misunderstand, it's not like as easy as pressing a button. You have to put effort. It's the relative effort that is being demonstrated in this example. I hope I have made it clear. I cannot put it more clearly. So bhakti is not just a cakewalk. It's not a spoon feeding. It's not like a mother spoon feeds a child completely and the child is just, creating a mess and a tantrum and the mother is running behind the child. That is absolutely not going to be the case. So to that extent, you must understand the example. Let me look at my notes and see if I missed something here. Okay. So now we start with verse number 1. So therefore, first verse itself, since this is a new beginning, a very good place to reconnect with Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna is pretty much saying, open your ears and listen carefully now. Tat śṛṇu. So that is part of the verse. Tat śṛṇu. So the first verse of the Bhagavad Gita is extremely important. Shri Bhagawan Uvacha Mayyasaktamana Partha Yogam Yunjam Madashrayah Asamshayam Samagram Mam Yatha Gyasyasi Tat śṛṇu. So, Tat śṛṇu, that now hear or now listen. So that is the most important aspect that I want to bring out here, Tat śṛṇu. So, what does it mean by this verse? How to hear or how to listen to Bhagavan. So Bhagavan is saying, Mai asakta manah partha. So in many of these cases, I'll go like 2 times or whatever. This should be understood very, very nicely. So Mai asakta manah partha. Asakta means attached, and it's not just attached, it's completely absorbed. It is like completely, one is not thinking of anything else. Okay, like a, I don't know, hungry man or a hungry lion or whatever. I don't know how the lion thinks, but a hungry man cannot think of anything else but how and when he will get food. Or whatever, maybe if there is a lot of pain, I have sometimes very severe migraine. And then when after taking the pill, I'm always looking at the clock as to when it will be, because I know my medicine acts in 2 hours. When it will be 2 hours when I will begin to get some relief. Things like that. So there is nothing else that the mind can think at that time except for one thing. So this whole thing about one thing we have discussed previously also in Bhagavad Gita. But that is the meaning of asakta manah, mai on Krishna, completely absorbed. So this is not simple. It's not easy. Manah partha, yogam yunjam yunjan madashrayah. And engaged, yoga means there is some practical or some not practical, physical engagement. Mad ashrayah, in complete shelter of Krishna. So again, the word mad. So already 2 times. So up to chapter 6, not so many instances of Mayi, Mad, Aham were there. In some of the homeworks in Bhakti Shastri, you might have observed. I have asked a question, which verse comes closest to Bhakti or where, and things like that. Here, if I ask this question in chapter 7, the answer will be every verse. So now the whole tempo has completely changed to Lord Krishna referring to himself as the object of one's meditation or absorption or attraction or whatever attachment. So completely engaged in my shelter, taking my shelter and then doing whatever you are doing. Mad ashrayaha. So engaged in yoga as per 6.47. If you remember 6.47, we discussed 2 aspects, internal and external. Both of these are engagements. Doing my bhajan, shraddhavan bhajate yo mam, and focusing his mind on me. That is, what is that? Yoginam api sarvesham mad gatena antaratmana. In his mind, he is always, his mind is directed towards me. So that is the yoga that is being discussed here, yogam yunjan, madashrayaha. And then asamshayam samagram mam. Third time, Lord Krishna is referring to himself, mam. So asamshayam, another very important point is that without doubt, we must understand what Krishna is saying. Make a very, very, very sincere effort to understand what Krishna is saying without, I'm not saying without clarifications. Clarifications must be asked. You will see Arjun continues to ask for clarifications throughout the chapter. In the beginning of chapter 8, he will ask for clarifications. In chapter 10, he will ask more questions. So, it's not like there cannot be clarification, but if there are doubts, get it clarified. But the end of it, the doubts must not remain. And plus, one must consider Krishna to be Bhagawan and understand in that spirit that this is God speaking. So let me listen with some respect, with not even respect. What's the word I would look for? With some faith or with some respect and conviction. Yeah. That there's if something appears to be incorrect or not make sense, probably the fault is mine. Probably I am misunderstanding or I am missing something. That should be the mindset instead of doubting, oh, no, this is correct, this is not correct. That's how we operate in the material world. We already know what's right. And when somebody else is speaking, we are just judging internally. That kind of mindset needs to be completely shed. And yatha gyasyasi, this is how you can know me. So these are the attributes or characteristics of how to pay attention, or what is the mood, what is the consciousness of the devotee. So please apply it on yourself for the rest of Bhagavad Gita, this mood and this consciousness. So like this, try to know me. Mam yatha gyasyasi. And tat śṛṇu. And like this, try to hear me. Try to listen to what I am saying. Okay. So hearing is with attention is very, very important. Okay. Now there are other things, kind of other ways to look at it, reverse interpretation or reverse. I'm not going to go into all that. I want to keep it at a very simple and serious level. So 7.1 is a very important verse, and I just wanted to add a few points. That 7.1 itself is the summary of what we are trying to understand. It basically summarizes the 7th chapter. So taking shelter of Krishna, mad ashrayaha, and asakta manaha. These are the two most important phrases of how one should try to connect with Krishna. So, complete absorption in Krishna is the answer. So, that is in essence Krishna Bhakti. Mad ashrayaha and asakta manaha. Mana is asakta in Krishna, Mai, and mad ashrayaha, taking complete shelter of Krishna. So that is in effect Krishna Bhakti. What is Krishna Bhakti? It is these two things. Take complete shelter of Krishna in all ways. Whatever happens, in all situations, present or future, even if somebody kills you unjustly. I just was reading the news, somebody was set on fire in New York. That person was sleeping or whatever, and somebody just came and just burnt the person alive. I mean, what more horrible there could be more horrible things, but pretty horrible thing to happen to a person. So I'm saying even in that situation, one must never doubt or never leave the shelter of Krishna. It's a very high demand not by Krishna from one devotee to another. Look at, there are so many examples, but one will say, oh, they are all very great examples. But yes, we must understand that is the goal. Prahlad Maharaj, he was not only tried to be burnt, just like this New York person, but in this case, it was some, criminal. In that case, it was his own father. So I would say that is one level up, one level more severe. Your own father is trying to, burn you alive. So there can be more serious scenarios, but still Prahlad Maharaj did not leave the shelter of Sri Krishna. Every single devotee in Srimad Bhagavatam demonstrates this characteristic. Every single one. Ambarish Maharaj, for absolutely no fault of his, the demon came at him. He didn't even move 1 inch. Bali Maharaj, God himself came and cheated him. Let alone no demon this time. This time God himself is coming and cheating him. And, he accepted it with a very peaceful, devoted heart. So there are all these examples. So never leave the shelter of Krishna. So that is the internal mood of a bhakta. Very hard to accomplish, but one must start somewhere. If you don't start today, I don't know which other is a better day to start. Then externally means not externally to show someone. Externally means from your physical side. This is your mind. And then from the bodily level, which is called sadhana. Of course, the mind is also sadhana. But actions inspired by the internal mood or the internal consciousness. Actions that are pleasing to Krishna. Because one is completely taken shelter of Krishna, then the only purpose is to try to look out for Krishna's pleasure. Just like when you love somebody, you always think about them rather than yourself. So, performing actions to please Krishna, and Krishna just wants one thing. He wants you to be connected to him, to be attached to him, to think of him. And it's not some kind of a, what is it? What's the word called? Narcissism or some kind of self-centeredness at all. In a more relatable way, the way to look at it could be that Krishna loves us so much, we can express our love by thinking of him And thinking of Krishna is a way of communicating with Krishna, just like, parents, I would say, or, if a wife or husband, if they are living separately due to some circumstances, maybe one is having a job here or there, they spend so much time on the phone. Now, these days, minutes are free, unlimited talk time. But in olden days where every minute I used to know, there was one, uh, 90s, they were living separately. His phone bill, he was saying, was more than his rental. So, because every day he would go into that STD PCO, it was called, I don't know how many of you remember that, and talk for 2 hours. So each time he would be like a 500 rupee bill, and then, paying like 5,000 rupees phone bill, and the house rent was 3,000. So, you know, communicating with somebody you love very deeply is what is the process of hearing and speaking, or that is Shravana and Kirtan. So hearing from Krishna, Bhagavad Gita is hearing from Krishna. Right now you are hearing, we are all hearing. I am just repeating what is there in Bhagavad Gita. So you are hearing from my physical mouth, so to say, the sound waves, but it is Krishna's words. So that is called Shiksha. Hearing of Krishna, Krishna's name, and hearing about Krishna, Krishna's Guna, Rupa, and Leela. So that is a very, very potent form of sadhana. So this is Krishna Bhakti in essence. And all of this is captured in 7.1, which is Mai Asakta Manah and Mad Ashrayaha and Yogam Yunjan. So that is captured in this first verse. And so in a sense, the entire bhakti process is captured in first verse. Now, regular sadhana is extremely, extremely important. I cannot stress this enough. Up to you. I don't know why you are coming to the Bhagavad Gita class. Maybe you just want to become familiar with Bhagavad Gita and check it off as a checklist in your life that I have undergone Bhagavad Gita, but I don't want to practice it. Then no need to do sadhana. If you have any desire to practice what Krishna is saying, or as I said, I will talk in tomorrow's class, if you really want true happiness, not just in next life, that sounds like next life sounds like what? A marketing scheme, First you buy the product, use it for 2 years, then you will get, or, like if you're trying to buy the house, you buy the house for its resale value. So if you are buying the house, you will live there for 10 years. You don't like it in that house. All the time you are thinking, when I will resell it, I will get a good profit. But all the while you are living it, it is very annoying. But Krishna Bhakti is not like that. Some people think, oh, it is only for next life. But this life is a lot of hard work. No. Krishna Bhakti provides the maximum possible happiness in this life as well. So you should not even think about next life. Even if you think about this life, still it is the best engagement. So we will talk about this tomorrow, but yeah. So sadhana is extremely important, and sadhana by knowing why you are doing it. So sadhana with interest, not as a force. If somebody is forcing you to do anything and you are begrudgingly doing it, better to cut it down and do what you can do with lot of interest. And interest comes from conviction. So you have to be convinced, why am I doing it? No peer pressure, no anything. Those are the wrong reasons, or to look good to someone. So never do your sadhana, in my opinion, for those reasons. So generate the interest, generate the motivation and conviction that this is important for my life. Then you will do it properly. Okay, questions? Rajvidya Prabhu, you had your hand raised.
Prabhuji, you answered the question in your explanation. I was about to ask, do we begin at the full consciousness, or it's a journey that we begin and we reach the full consciousness?
What is the answer you got?
You said it's a journey, you begin anywhere and then you do sadhana and reach the
Very
destination.
good. Great. Very good. Thank you. So that is the first verse. All right. Now we go to number 2. Then another extremely important verse with a lot of understanding included. Jnanam te aham sa vijnanam. So this verse is talking about jnana and vijnana. And that is the reason why, if you see this chapter title is Jnana Vijnana Yoga. I hope all of you have your books. Come on, show me your books. Everybody show me your book. All right, very good. Okay. So without the book, because I'm not putting the verses on the slides, so you must have the book. I'm assuming everybody has the book in front. If you don't have it, please go get it. Jnanam tas teham sa vijnanam idam vakshyami asheshatah yajjatva neha bhuyo anyat gyatavyam avashishyate. So, jnana and vijnana. I will explain in detail what these two terms mean. We all think jnana means, what is jnana? Knowledge in general. Vijnan, what is vijnan? Science. We have, I don't know if you have studied in India, and if you have studied in Hindi medium or whatever, science is called vijnan. But that's not the full meaning. I'll explain. Idam vakshyami asheshatah. So vakshyami. So everywhere you will see jnanam te aham sa vijnanam. I will explain. Vakshyami. I will speak. Asheshatah. In detail, in full. Shesha means to something that finishes. Ashesha means which doesn't finish. Unlimited. That unlimited jnana and vijnana I'm going to tell you. Yad gyatva na iha bhuyo anyat. So, iha is a very important word. Iha means in this world, in this material world, in this whole universe, knowing this jnana and vijnana, it will leave nothing else. Gyatavyam avashishyate. There will nothing remain to be known. So, which means that this knowledge is everything. It includes the highest knowledge. This knowledge is the highest. Or knowing this, you will know how everything works. Physics, mathematics, chemistry, whatever. This knowledge will equip you with all knowledge. That is the meaning. So let us see that. Let's understand a little bit more. So jnanam and vijnana. So what is jnana and vijnana? Jnana means, I'm explaining in this context, okay? I'm not interested in explaining all contexts. This is not a Sanskrit class. Theoretical knowledge. So this is theoretical knowledge about Bhagawan. And realized knowledge, or is Vijnan, or practical realization that you get after understanding the theory. Sometimes you get practical realization first, and then you deduce the theory from it as well. That is also possible. Both are possible. But the most important thing is application. You cannot have anything without or no realization part of it, whether realization comes first or realization comes second. To have realization, you need to have application. So application is a very, very critical, very important part of bhakti. You can understand bhakti all you want. It's completely useless. Don't waste your time. Do something else. So, and the best way for practical realization is to understand. You don't have to like be the, Isaac Newton, who, only realized and then came up with the theory. He saw the apple falling and then came up with the theory of gravity. We have the benefit of knowing the theory, and from there we can get personal realizations for ourselves. So you don't have to be the Goswamis or whoever, Bhagawan himself. The theory has been nicely packaged by Bhagawan, including all the commentaries and explanations by the acharyas, has been very nicely given to us in a silver plate. We are supposed to understand it. So understand the knowledge and apply the knowledge, and then you will get tremendous amount of personal realizations, and those personal realizations are the ones that you should keep with you very carefully, very much like a, your personal treasure, your personal jewels. You should write it down. I always say make a journal. Any personal realizations that you get, you must write down and keep it, treasure it like a very precious jewel. Time to time, look at it, refer to it. You must do that, especially at the time of reading Srimad Bhagavatam or any scripture or doing japa. When something is bothering you, you finally realize, this is the reason why my mind is not applying in it. Or had it, whatever may be the thing, some aha moments. So application leads to personal realizations. Cherish them and treasure them, but they will not come if you don't apply. So jnana and vijnana. And then I will speak in full, asheshataha. So knowledge of Bhagawan is full knowledge. If you understand now, it doesn't mean that it will, you will know quantum mechanics out of this or whatever else, algebraic geometry. But the point is that this knowledge will make you the most successful in your life. Ultimately, knowledge is for happiness or for success or for something. So this knowledge is the knowledge that will make you the most successful in life. Now, here is a very important statement I have written in this. Knowing, please pay very careful attention. This is something that I want to stress on. Knowing who really Bhagawan is extremely important. Who is Bhagawan? Okay. So again, that depends on your past exposure so far. Or if you have not had any exposure, you may be confused about who is Bhagawan. You could be in any of those spaces. Okay. But to understand, don't depend on your imagination of who is Bhagawan. Also, don't depend on, what should I say, ill-formed explanations that may have been given to you in the past by people who don't know properly who is Bhagawan. That also goes on a lot. Okay. So the best thing is to understand, or not just hear from other people. I'm talking in the modern contemporary context, 2024. Also read the Shastra. Read the writings of previous acharyas. And then compare what you are hearing from others, and more or less it should match. So that is how you should get your understanding of who really, because who is Bhagawan is a very important and complex. Obviously, understanding who is Bhagawan is no joke. People fail to understand who is their own husband or who is their own wife. And that is why there are so many problems in people's lives. You don't understand your own husband or wife. What to speak of Bhagawan, whom you have never met. So it is extremely important to, and that is why volumes and volumes have been written explaining who is Bhagawan. So we must make a good attempt to understand who is Bhagawan. Otherwise, our bhakti will be towards some imaginary entity. Many people jump directly into some, I don't want to put names up to these terms, but sweetness and this blue boy and with a flute and all those things, which is very nice. Yes, Krishna is bluish black with a flute and, Vanamali, a garland of forest flowers, not your most beautiful chosen flowers from the best gardens, but just simple forest. All those things are nice. But when future doubts or setbacks will come, and they will come, it will cause immense disturbance in your heart. So that partly is caused by, part of it is caused by our offenses. Part of it is also caused by lack of proper understanding of who we are putting our bhajan towards, or who are we doing our bhajan for. So therefore, it is extremely important on understanding what is known as Sambandha with Bhagavan. So Sambandha, there are three things: Sambandha, Abhideya, and prayojana. Please understand very carefully. Okay? Sambandha means trying to understand who is Bhagavan. Abhideya comes next after you have a reasonable understanding, not full. We can never understand Bhagavan fully, never. But after we have a reasonable understanding, then we try to execute the process of connecting with him. That is called Abhidheya, the process of connecting with Bhagavan. And prayojana is the end result. When we are able to connect with Bhagavan, what do we experience? The prema part. So Sambandha is who is Bhagavan, prayojana is bhakti, because bhakti is the way to connect with that Bhagavan, and prema with Bhagavan is the prayojana. So these are the three levels, but very little focus is put on Sambandha. Very little. And 7th chapter, largely, especially the first 12 verses, is all about Sambandha. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, we can say primarily the first 5 cantos are Sambandha, trying to make us understand who is Bhagavan really. 5 cantos. Okay. And then the next 4 cantos, 6, 7, 8, 9, go into Abhideya, the process. Starting with what? What is the first process that's there? Who can tell?
Prabhuji, Ajamil, so like Nam, holy name.
Name. Okay, so starting with name, Nama Kirtan, or the importance of Nama. In some sense, that is also Sambandha, trying to understand the significance of Nama. Anyway, so trying to understand who is Bhagavan is extremely, extremely important, and one must not short circuit or do it quickly or do it in a shallow way. So this whole topic of who is Bhagavan is a whole series in itself of many, many months, as you can imagine. Who is Bhagawan is not a small topic. But I will give some pointers and leave it at that. So all discussions in Vaishnava literature, especially Gaudiya Vaishnava literature, about Bhagavat Tattva, who is Bhagavan, begin with this verse. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yad jnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdyate. This one verse is monumental it's in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and it just is in just one small verse. The key terminologies, the key points have been packed. Each of these needs to be understood, these terms, tattva. So if you see here, vadanti tat tattvavidas. So vadanti means it is said by whom? By the tattvavidas, those who are the knowers of the tattva, that tattva, tat means it's coming from the previous verse, that tattva, tattvam, again, tattvam yad jnanam advayam, that the knowledge is of this advayam tattva, of this non-dual. Now this is not impersonalism, okay? Our Gaudiya Vaishnava understanding is achintya bheda abheda, both dvaita and advaya. So you will see the word advayam. Again, for the beginners, if you're not following this, no problem. And then brahmeti, Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So this is not three different entities. It's the same substance. Srila Prabhupada uses the word. Learned transcendentalists who know the absolute truth call this non-dual substance. Now, this might seem like a Mayavadi translation, substance. Oh, you are reducing Bhagavan to substance. That's not the case. Bhagavan is this tattva whom we realize as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. Now, Bhagavan, again, I cannot give this whole class, and I honestly myself will max out at some level in my understanding, and then senior devotees will be needed to come and clarify more. So I'm not claiming to be an expert by any means, but these three are not these three different aspects of in simple terms, it is explained like the energy coming from Bhagavan is Brahman. Bhagavan is Brahman as well. It's not just the energy coming out of him. Shakti and Shaktiman. That's an easier way of understanding, and that's correct. But it's not like we can, somehow it feels like if you switch off the button, or press the off switch, the light will turn off. Okay? And once the light turns off, then Brahman is gone. All that is left is Bhagavan. Okay, that's kind of, at least in many years ago, I was used to think like that Brahman is something which is separate from Bhagavan. Brahman is Bhagavan, that same tattva, depending on the consciousness of the viewer or the sadhaka, appears, that same tattva appears as Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan. It depends on the practitioner, not on Bhagavan. That, oh, Bhagavan has appeared as a person, or Bhagavan has appeared as Paramatma, or that Bhagavan is now appearing as Brahman. It's not up to Bhagavan, it's up to the perceiver. And so that is one aspect. There is a verse. It's a verse of a third canto. Let me show you a verse from the third canto, which I just want to make sure I'm not accused of spreading any misconceptions. One has to be careful. It's in the 3rd canto. Yeah, let me share this screen. You're seeing this?
Yes.
3.9.11. We'll read just the translation. O my Lord, your devotees can see you through the ears by the process of bona fide hearing, and thus their hearts become cleansed, and you take your seat there. You are so merciful to your devotees that you manifest yourself in the particular eternal form of transcendence in which they always think of you. Okay? So Bhagavan manifests in the form, or depending on the consciousness of the practitioner. So whether it is Brahman, Paramatma, or Bhagavan, it's not 3 different like Bhagavan, or today he's in blue clothes, then he has to go change clothes. Now he's Brahman. Then when he goes and changes clothes, now he's Paramatma. It depends on the perceiver. So these are some very, oops, what are you seeing?
The verse we just shared.
Sorry. Wanted to share the slides. So, understanding who is Bhagavan. So we must understand that non-dual substance, as Srila Prabhupada has said. Bhagavad tattva should be understood. And also, sometimes we hear so much, if you are, in our Vaishnava circles, Bhagavan is a person, Bhagavan is a person, Bhagavan is a person. So we start thinking of him like a great person, maybe multiplied 1,000,000,000 times. Who is a great person, I don't know. For you, it may be Elon Musk or Albert Einstein or Mahatma Gandhi or George Washington or whoever it may be. Great person multiplied 1,000,000 times. I don't know, whatever that means. He is a person. That's also not correct. He is not like any person you know. I will go ahead and even say he's not a person. In the sense we know, in the meaning is not like a material person. Why I'm saying that? It's very important. When you see Elon Musk today, or maybe President, whoever, Trump, or whoever may be your favorite president, Narendra Modi, or some powerful person, Ambani, Bill Gates, whatever, some point or the other, you will have, please listen, you will have this feeling, hey, why am I not like that person? After all, Elon Musk is also just a human, right? He just happened to be more hardworking, have a greater vision, picked on the right technologies, maybe, I don't know, picked on the right presidential candidate, who happened to win. Maybe the other person had won, then the day Trump won, I think his stock price of Tesla went up by 20%. What if Trump lost? His stock price would have gone down 20%. So because he happened to do the right pick, why couldn't I do that? Hey. And then imagine where that discussion takes you. It takes you to the discussion that, why can't I be God? Okay, he's great. Today he's very great. Slowly, I can become like him. And that exactly is the demoniac mentality. That's exactly what Hiranyakashipu thought. That's exactly what Ravana thought. That's exactly what all demons think. that I can become like him or even greater than him. Hiranyakashipu said, I will cut off Vishnu's head and drink his blood. So clearly there was no understanding after his brother Hiranyaksh was killed. In third canto, you will see how he makes this promise to the wife of or the family members of Hiranyaksh. Don't worry, I will cut off the murderer's head and drink his blood, and then you will be happy. You cannot cut off Vishnu's head. There is, I mean, just saying, he was foolish, but we can also be foolish. Ravana thought, I can kill Ram and forever own Sita. Or even Duryodhan, even Krishna is on their side. How in the world can he imagine that he can win? So that is demoniac mentality. So that is the problem when we start even thinking that he is like, this conception of a person also is sometimes flawed. And we start doing bhakti towards a person, and we know very well how to do bhakti for a person. Okay, there are so many bhaktas of Donald Trump or of people, Sachin Tendulkar or whoever is the latest. I don't know. Sachin was our times cricket player. I don't know who's the latest one these days, or whatever, soccer or basketball players. People are bhakta of such people. So it's not hard to imagine that you are bhakta of some person. You're like a, fan follower or whatever, 100 million followers on Twitter or whatever. You can have a huge following, you can have a huge, devotional following. But bhakti for Bhagawan should not be in that spirit. Otherwise, very soon you will, start looking, there can be many problems with that understanding. Some harsh incidents, etc., could shake our faith in him. So, therefore, it is very important to understand tattva, Bhagavat tattva, and which includes his Aishvarya aspect, his all pervading, his great. Great is again, Elon Musk is great, whatever. Mahatma Gandhi was great. The all pervading aspect as well. All pervading means he's present everywhere. Now, that cannot be said of any person, living or dead. And many other things. We can do a whole analysis of Bhagavan. Bhaga, again, bha, ga, va. Each of these syllables has a meaning. And typically it is summarized as the one who possesses the 6 qualities: all opulence, all power, all knowledge, all renunciation, all beauty. Long. Okay. So we must understand the Aishwarya aspect. Some devotees skip it or do it very shallowly. Okay. Maybe it's in their heart from previous life, then no problem. But if you have the means, if you have the time, if you have the resources, one must invest in understanding the Aishwarya aspect of Bhagavan also. And that is what largely the 7th chapter is about. And if you think, oh, Madhurya and 10th canto, let me tell you again, in 10th canto, Aishwarya is an inherent part of 10th canto. The whole point of the 10th canto Madhurya is to love the person, knowing at the back of your mind that he is God, but keeping that consciously, you are keeping that aside. Otherwise, there's no difference between boy-girl love story or mother-child love story and Bhagavatam 10th canto. It could be perceived as completely mundane. The rasa comes in it because the object is Bhagavan. So you must understand who is Bhagawan. So many devotees could skip this completely and just say, oh, person, okay, I'm just satisfied with person. Okay. I hope that, I would wish them luck. So therefore, a good and deep study of Srimad Bhagavatam is required, because in Bhagavad Gita, it's not covered much after Bhagavatam, after Bhagavad Gita. Okay. So that is 7.2. So I hope what I have just said is just like a inspiration to hopefully build some inspiration into understanding. It's not a bad thing to understand Bhagavad Tattva. We must, in fact, understand it fully to be able to appreciate who really is Bhagawan, and to completely eliminate this thought from our mind that one day I want to even become 1 millionth or 1 trillionth like Bhagawan. That tendency is just very deep rooted in our heart. Okay. Then 7.3. So the first 3 verses of chapter 7 are all about how to understand chapter 7, or what one must focus on in chapter 7. What must one get out of chapter 7? So first was the consciousness or the mood of understanding chapter 7. The second is what to understand. What is the aspect of understanding the jnana and the vijnana? And the third one is saying that it is very rare. So therefore, the call is to understand it with determination and interest. Find the ways in which you can put interest in it. So, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschid yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschin mam vetti tattvataḥ. So, Manushyanam sahasreshu. Sahasra means, like we have Vishnu Sahasranam, means 1,000. So, sahasreshu, many thousands, multiple, plural. So, among many men, Manushyanam. So, first of all, Manushya is used. It could have easily been said Sarva Bhutanam Sahasreshu. Even the meter would fit, let alone the meaning. But it is not saying Sarva Bhutanam, first of all, which means that this knowledge of Bhagavan is meant for the humans. And that itself is talking about the importance of human life. Because we are human, we must engage in this. It's not meant for cats and dogs. Otherwise, easily Sarva Bhutanam could have been said. Okay. So, as humans, we must make this a point in our life to focus on this knowledge. Anyway, that's not the important point of this verse. The important point is, amongst thousands of men, kaschid yatati siddhaye. For siddhi, siddhi means, one can say, spiritual perfection. 1 in 1,000, and yatati means to attempt, to even try. Okay. So among thousands, hardly one even tries, even attempts to take the spiritual path. What about the remaining 999, whatever, 5,999 people? They are in their la la land. Eat, drink, and be merry. Isn't it? How many people are focusing on spiritual path? Very few. And then yatatam api siddhanam, among those, among the previous ones. Okay, api siddhanam, those who have attained siddhi. Okay. Or even if you think like those who even try. It's different. Acharyas give different commentaries or mention both things. That either you have attained siddhi, the some kind of siddhi, whether it is through Jnana Yoga or Karma Yoga or whatever path, or Bhakti, or you even started trying. 999 even didn't start trying. They are just eat, drink, be merry, having fun in La La Land. So among those who tried, hardly one, kascin mam vetti tattvataḥ. So only very few, kascin means hardly one even, mam vetti tattvataḥ. So mam vetti, where this verse, so what, it's hardly one knows me in truth. In reality, hardly anyone knows me. So one can say, I know Krishna, but that's not what is said. In tattvataḥ, vetti tattvataḥ. I had given a long discussion on this vetti tattvataḥ. Where it was given, anybody remembers? Shamlila Mataji, you cannot say.
Okay, Prabhuji.
Madhuri Manjari Mataji.
Prabhuji, जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम.
Very nice. पूरा बोलिए.
जन्म कर्म च मे दिव्यम यो मे व्यक्ति तत्वता
एव यो वेत्ति तत्वतः.
तत्वता तत्ता देहम पुनर्जन्म नैति मामिति सो अर्जुन.
Very nice. So, who knows the janma and karma, the activities and the birth, the divine activities, the leelas of Krishna? Tattvataḥ, not like, yeah, I know he was born in Mathura, he was jailed, blah, blah, blah. Then what the whole story in that you might have seen in a, little Krishna, anime cartoon video. Not that level of vetti. That is vetti, but that is not vetti tattvataḥ. I think I had used the word knowing it in your bones, which means one of the things is to constantly do smarana of those. That's the only thing running in your mind all the time. Would be one symptom of vetti tattvataḥ. So, hardly anyone knows me in truth or in essence. Okay? So, that is the rarity. So, again, this doesn't mean, this is not supposed to be discouraging us. This is just mentioning the fact that it's not easy either, but relatively it is very, very easier compared to Jnana Yoga path. And what happens to the rest? They either deviate if we apply the understanding that those who tried and got deviated, Maya took over, or not, Maya doesn't take over. They get allured by Maya. Okay? They take the exit on the highway. Goal was to go straight. They saw some billboard and took the exit. And others maybe, having attained Siddhi, but not out of love for Krishna, but out of love for their own pleasure. Own pleasure means getting rid of material misery. So even those who attain moksha, but with the intent that I will be happy, the focus is again on themselves. Bhagawan is just a resource to get to my end goal, which is my happiness. So that is also not called vetti tattvataḥ. To know Krishna in reality, in essence, and to know Krishna in essence is that to know that he is the source of everything for us. And therefore we must reciprocate by giving him a little love back. And therefore doing things that make him happy out of our gratitude, out of our love. That is knowing vetti tattvataḥ. Okay? All right. Why do the rest deviate, or they don't even try? The eat, drink, be merry category, or the ones who start and take an exit, or those who start and become successful but for their own pleasure. So there are all these other categories of people who constitute the remaining whatever 999 category. So why is it that will be covered later in the chapter? Some are dushkritinas, some are anya deva upasana, some are avyakta upasana, all those things. We will talk about these. I'm just using Sanskrit terms, but dushkritina means just busy with material life, eat, drink, be merry. Anya deva upasana, also for sense gratification, they worship devatas. That will be covered in verse 20 to 23. Or avyakta, for their own getting rid of their own material misery. Avyakta murtina. That is 7.24. Okay. So that is, any questions? Okay. So now, who is Bhagawan starts the discussion. Who is God? Yes, Rajvidya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, you said 1 in thousands know me. So all these thousands, I mean, can we say they are like devotees, or like they become devotees after a certain level, or the moment they start, they are devotees?
No. One in the second one in thousands. Those who start their devotional life, they are the first category of the 1 in thousands. Okay, there are 2 1 in thousands, as you can see, right? So those who start their bhakti fall in the first 1 in thousands. Okay, manushyanam sahasreshu kascin yatati siddhaya. So you are that kascin which is in the second line of the verse. Let's put it that way. There is another kascin which is in the fourth line. Kaschid mann vetti tattvataḥ. So those who start their bhakti are the first kascin. Those who reach the bhava bhakti stage. Now again, I'm using Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu terminology, but sadhan bhakti, then bhav bhakti and prema bhakti. So those who have at least reached bhav bhakti stage can be called as the second kascin. That they know Krishna in truth. And a condensed form of that is prema. Okay, Sandrananda.
So, but they all are like devotees in the sense, like some may be neophytes, some may be just getting started.
Not the
They're
second
like Dushkriti. I mean,
Second
you
question
have,
cannot be new devotees. So I'm not clear what your question is.
sorry, Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. The
That
first question, Prabhuji, when you said 1 in 1,000, so they are like neophytes, like they're just getting started the devotionals in the
yes.
devotional path. So, Prabhuji, you mentioned in the other shlokas, dushkriti. Dushkriti people will never be devotees, no, Prabhuji? They will never enter the
There are
path
the
itself.
remaining 999, I said.
Okay. They will not even attempt, no, Prabhuji. They are not
Correct.
devotees.
Correct. They are the eat, drink, be merry category.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Did I say something else? I don't remember. But what I meant is those dushkritinos, those dushkrita people are the remaining 999 of the first category. That they don't even start. Mudha, Naradhama, Maya, Preta Jnana. And what is the fourth one? Dushkritina is everyone. Mudha,
Maya Pahrita Jnana.
Maya
Naradhama, Maya, Aprihita Jnana, and Asura. The fourth one. Yeah.
Hare Krishna.
These 4 are in the 999 of the first category. They never even start. All right.
Hare Krishna.
Okay. That one, those 4 are found in 7.15. And then the beginner devotees, like you are asking, is found in 7.16. Sukritino Arjuna. And they are the Artha, Artharthi, Jigyasu, and Jnani. Okay, so 7.4. So now tattva is starting. So again, in Bhagavad Gita, everything is mentioned, but details, if you really want to understand, you cannot understand it in one class. You cannot even understand it in 1 week. One must invest serious time to understand who is Bhagawan, his Aishvarya, his greatness aspect, his all-pervading aspect. It is very important to get a good understanding so that this feeling never comes, or that he is like a person. We all get so much into he's a person. And so many examples are also given because Lord Krishna performs his Nar Leela. So he's very much, yes, like a human person. He feels hungry, he gets angry, he, throws a tantrum, all the kind of things we have seen in our life. So it keeps re-emphasizing the fact that he's just a person. That's not correct. He's not like any person that we know. At the back of our mind, after a good understanding of the tattva, then we must begin to relate to him like a person, like no other person. Okay, so that understanding is important. So now Krishna begins to describe who he is. So first he says that Bhumir apa analo vayu kham mano buddhireva cha ahamkara iti yamme bhinna prakritir ashtadha. So here he is mentioning 8 ashta. 8 bhinna prakriti. Prakriti means we can say energies or nature. So energy is perfectly fine, but one must not think that this is separate from Krishna. Okay? Like you may think that example need to be taken in its proper understanding, not like a electric bulb and the photons, the light coming out of the bulb like in the form of photons. So one can think, oh, the photons are different from the bulb. Okay? That is not the case. So these are the energy of Prakriti. The other word also is nature. This is the nature of Krishna. But energy is fine, but as long as you understand that this energy is also Krishna. And you will see that in the next few verses. So what are the 8 mentioned? Bhumir, Aap, Anal, Vayu, Kha. So these are the 5 what are known as the gross natures, the 5 which you can touch, feel, see, whatever. So Bhumi means earth, Apa means water, Anala means fire, Vayu is air or wind, and Kha is empty space. So these are the 5 gross energies. And mana buddhir evacha ahamkara, which is in the next line. So man, buddhi, and ahamkara are the 3: mind, intelligence, and false ego. Ahamkara are the 3 remaining, or the subtle natures, the subtle energies. Everything comes from Krishna. Even our ahamkara comes from Krishna. One can think that ahamkara is a bad thing. We all relate ahamkara as a bad thing. How can bad thing come from Krishna? That may be a very frequently or a common asked question. Do only good things come from Krishna, or even bad qualities come from Krishna? The qualities of violence or whatever it may be. Everything comes from Krishna. So ahamkara iti all these itiyamme bhinna prakriti ashtadha, and these 8 are separate from themselves. It doesn't mean they are separate from Krishna. They are the 8 different. So the way to think is that they are the 8 different, separate from each other, are the energies or the natures of Krishna. So we can do a whole discussion on all these. In my previous videos, you can go look. I have gone into a little bit of a scientific direction and all that. I don't want to do that. in this case, and all that. So I'll skip that. Another thing to understand very carefully is mann, mind, and buddhi and ahamkara. So this is very important to understand the difference between these. What is the difference between the mind and the buddhi and the ahamkara? I'll touch on this a little bit in tomorrow's Sunday Feast class, but not again in detail. Yeah, day after, sorry. So, yeah. Next verse, number 5. Now, so we discussed the 8 energies. Now, in this verse, Lord Krishna will say that these 8 are the lower level or inferior, you can say, and there is one superior energy, which is the jivas. So, aparayam itastvanyam prakritim vidhi me param jiva bhutam mahabaho yayedam dharyate jagat. So, aparayam, para means superior, we say, no, param dham or something like that. Parameshwar, the biggest, the supreme Lord. Paramatma is Paramatma, the super soul, small Atma and Paramatma. So Param means superior. So Aparayam, so is the inferior. Itas means these ones. So, but tu anyam, so different from these inferior ones, okay, or beside these 8 from the previous verse. Prakritim vidhi me param. Prakriti means nature. Now, again, therefore, here, from these, there is my energy or my nature, by Prakriti, me param, my energy. Okay, so this is also Krishna's energy. In the previous verse, also there was ahamkara itiyam me bhinna prakriti rashtadha. So these are Krishna's. This is not separate from Krishna. So me param, there is a superior prakriti or a superior energy, which is what? Mahabaho is Arjuna, my Arjuna. What is that superior energy? Jiva bhutam. Jiva bhutam, not jiva manushyam. So means the living entity. Bhuta means living entity. Manushya means human. So this jiva, the soul, is in all living entities. Bhutam, not just humans. That's another, some, sects or class of people feel or have the understanding that only humans have the soul. Every living entity, jiva bhutam, has the soul. That is clearly, at least that's the Bhagavad Gita is teaching us. And yayedam dharyate jagat, that this jagat or this, the jivas are utilizing the resources of this jagat. Dharyate means they are dharan karna. I selected the word utilizing. In the translation, Srila Prabhupada is using the word exploiting. So, like dharyate, dharan karna, like you wear clothes. So a cloth, piece of cloth, whether it's a shirt, pant, whatever, you utilize it to for your benefit, to cover your body or whatever. So in the same way, dharyate jagat, that they are utilizing it for their enjoyment. So the Lord has given all these resources for us to utilize, to enjoy, because we had a desire for sense gratification. Now, the correct use of this, as it is understood from Ishopanishad, is that Ishavashyam idam sarvam yat kincha jagatyam jagat, that one should utilize, one should understand that everything belongs to Krishna and consider himself only as a caretaker. Okay, so that is the correct understanding, but Krishna has given us, we may forget that correct understanding and misuse it for our sense gratification. So that is there are these 9 total energies or 9 total prakritis of Krishna. One of them is superior. So if there's a question in the test, last year there was a question, how many total energies of Krishna are described? Those who wrote 8 got some penalty marks, minus, negative. The correct answer is 9. Okay, so it was a trick question. You know, everybody remembers the verse, Ashtadha, 8. But the correct answer is 9 because there's also the Jiva Bhutam Ahabaho. So we are also energy of Krishna. Krishna will say we are actually Amsha of Krishna. In the 15th chapter, Lord Krishna will say, Mameva Amsho Jiva Loke, Jiva Bhutah Sanatana. That we are the Amsha of Krishna. We are the part and parcel, tiny part and parcel of Krishna. So, trying to understand who is Krishna. So, Krishna is all these things. So, you can, again, it's a complex topic. So, you can think or you can understand at a basic level, Krishna is everything, or you can say Krishna is in everything. Okay, both of those statements would not be wrong. All right. Now, what do you mean by is everything or in everything? Now, this goes into a deep philosophical discussion. Is and in. It's not an object-oriented programming discussion where you have objects and child as is or in. I know some of you may have read, object-oriented programming, and is and in is a big thing. But like a truck is a vehicle. You cannot say a truck is in a vehicle, but in means you can say that a air conditioner is in the vehicle. It is not the vehicle. So for that you have to first define what is the outer realm, vehicle. Then you can say is or in. I'm going a little bit on a philosophical side. You have to define the external first. What is the external here? Now, some people can say atom is the external. Inside every atom is Krishna. Okay. Now, is atom the last undivided whole? For many years, that was the understanding. Now, in Brahma Samhita, there is a verse 5.35 which says Paramanu. But is Paramanu, does it mean the atom as we know it? Or does it mean something else? Nobody has, the Shastra doesn't say, the Shastra doesn't mention Rutherford's model of an atom or whatever else, And today we know that atom also is composed of neutrons, protons, electrons. You can separate out a neutron from an atom. That is called splitting the atom. The whole nuclear energy is all about that, to split the atom. And within that also, now there are further particles, quarks and all that, up quark, down quark, and they have been able to separate that as well. So what do you call the indivisible part? And Krishna is in what? Is he in the molecule? Is he in the atom? Is he in the neutron or proton? Or is he in the quark? Or, whatever, you can go deeper than that, string theory and who knows all that nonsense. So this whole discussion of is and in, what I am saying, is not clear. But at a basic understanding, it would not be wrong to say Krishna is in everything or Krishna is everything. You would not be wrong either way. Okay? And that is the point of the 6th verse. 6th verse, Krishna is exactly saying that I am everything. So I am in everything or I am everything is a very deep point of debate. Etad yonini bhutani sarvani iti upadharaya aham kritsnasya jagataha prabhavah pralayas tatha. So we'll keep the pralaya aside, but prabhava, the source. So let's see. Etad yonini bhutani, that the source, the yoni, as you understand, is the source, right? Yoni means, the literal meaning is the womb or yoni. That's womb is where child is born, right? So the yoni or the womb of etad means of this. This means the previous 2 verses it is referring to, those 9 energies, which means all the material energies, the non-living, bhumir, apa, anala, vayu, kha, and the man, buddhi, ahamkara also, and the jiva, all the previous 9, bhutani, all these, and all the living entities, sarvani, everything, nothing is excluded here. Okay? So everything is included in these 9. So anything that you see, or any one that you see, is included in these 9. That is what is being said in the first 2 lines. So this mouse that you see here is included, is made up of those 9 things. There is some fire, air, water, ether, whatever. Now you can say this is made of some carbon or I don't know, sulfur or this or that, but ultimately it is made up of those elements according to Vedic understanding. If you want a scientific discussion, you can refer to past videos, and I have done more there, but I don't want to do that here. Aham kritsnasya jagataha prabhavah pralayas tatha, that I am the origin and the ending and everything in middle. Everything. I am everything. Krishna is saying this. I am everything of all these 9 things. That is what is being said in the 6th verse. I am everything. From the beginning to the end, and obviously includes the middle. So that is the translation, is all created beings have their source in these 2 natures. So first of all, everything that you see is comprised of these 2 types of energies, para and apara. Of all that there is material and all that there is spiritual, what else is there? Material and spiritual, that's it. Know for certain that I am both the origin and the I am not in. I am both the origin and the dissolution. So that's how our acharyas have explained. Okay, so everything is Krishna. Everything is Krishna. Okay. And then a very nice example is given. Again, the first 2 lines are saying that Krishna is everything. Mattah, this is a very beautiful verse. Mattah parataram na anyat. So mattah parataram means beyond me, parataram. Mattah means, para means, like I said, greater than me or beyond me or whatever, right? Like we said, there is inferior energy and there is superior energy, which is the jivas. Is there something above? Right? That is what is being said. Mattah parataram. Is there anything above me? First, Krishna said, I am both these. Everything that is there, which is both these, inferior and superior, which is the 9, is there anything above? Mattah parataram. And the answer is na anyat. Nothing else is there. Na anyat. Which means this is it. Krishna is everything. It's not like somebody can say, no, this other thing is higher. Na anyat. Kinchit asti. There is nothing, Dhananjaya. Anything. Nothing else. Anya. Kinchid asti. There is like literally nothing. He is putting a full stop. And then he says, Mayi idam, Mayi sarvam idam protam. Now this gives the idea that I am in everything, this example. Protam means I am supporting. Okay? Sutre manigana iva. Like a sutra. If you see a a necklace of pearls, it's very obvious that it has a string which is holding it together. Otherwise, they would all scatter. Okay? So this gives the sense, at least this example, that Mai sarvam idam protam. I am the supporter. The correct way to understand is I support. And supporting can be by one's presence, whether it is it or in. Again, it's not very clear. But the example makes it feel like in. Sutre manigana iva, like the string is there, which is causing the necklace to even exist. It's not just supporting the pearls. The necklace would not even exist. It would just be a bunch of pearls otherwise. You don't call it a necklace. The existence of the necklace is given. The very source of the existence of the necklace is the string. Even if it was one pearl, I have seen in some jewelry shops, there's just one pendant. The remaining thing is just a string, isn't it? It is much cheaper versus full pearls. That will be more costly, but both are qualified as necklaces. Have you ever seen a necklace with no string? No. So the most fundamental aspect is the string. That is what supports it. So Krishna is saying, I am the supporter of this entire universe. Mai sarvam idam protam. I am the supporter of sarvam, of everything. Nothing is beyond or higher than me, which is supporting this universe or which is supporting me. That is exactly not said here, that which is supporting me, but he's clearly saying that I am the highest. I am at the top of the hierarchy. Sarva Karana Karanam. Okay. So that is text number 7. So text number 7 is clearly saying, if somebody asks you where it is said that there is nobody higher than Krishna, at least as per the Bhagavad Gita, text 7 clearly says that mattah parataram na anyat kinchid asti. Higher than me is no one anywhere else. No ifs, no buts. It's a very definitive, precise statement, leaving no scope for any loopholes. So Krishna is at the very top of the hierarchy. There is nothing superior. Parataram, superior. Na asti, does not exist. And everything else is supported by me. So I am the supporter, like Krishna. You can imagine Krishna and Govardhan Hill. Krishna is the supporter. Everything is supported by him. Okay. Another aspect is the invisibility aspect, which is what I have put on the slide. Now, if you see this mouse, I don't see Krishna in the mouse. I see this Logitech mouse. So some engineers in Logitech built this. Maybe they are the source, or you can say plastic is the source, or whatever. I don't see Krishna. So that is the other aspect of this verse, that you don't see the string. Now here imagine we are not talking about a one pearl necklace. We are talking about a full pearl necklace where you don't see the string, just like I have shown in the picture. You only see the pearls, but you know, the one who is intelligent knows that the string is there. Therefore, one who is intelligent knows that Krishna is there inside, even though the eyes cannot see it. That is the essence of knowing Krishna, to see Krishna in everything. In everything, the all-pervading aspect. Remember, I had put that in one of the previous slides. The all-pervading aspect of Krishna is very, very, very apparent here. And when you understand this deeply, it will begin to differentiate it just from a great person. Neither Mahatma Gandhi, nor George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Elon Musk, nobody can claim that I am the supporter of the whole universe. Okay? Now, 8, 9, 10, and 11, 4 beautiful verses are there to hammer this point home. Completely ingrain this in our mind, how Krishna is in everything. Now, I'm again using the word in everything, but please understand it is in everything or is everything. Both are correct understandings. And that without Krishna, that would not exist. Okay? So it's not like if you have a car, an air conditioner is in the car. If you remove the air conditioner, you can still drive the car, you'll feel hot. That's the only problem, but the car is still drivable. Or maybe Krishna is whatever, something else. You remove that and maybe you can still drive. No, the car itself won't exist. Even if you say Krishna is the engine, if you remove the engine, at least the car will be like a shed. If it rains, you can sit inside the car and protect yourself from the rain. It won't move, but it will still have a ceiling on your head to protect you in rain. No. If you remove Krishna, the whole thing ceases to exist. It will just poof. It won't exist. And therefore, everything that is being shown here is the essential characteristic of what is being discussed. Raso aham apsu kaunteya. Number 8. That apsu means water. The essential aspect of water is rasa, or the taste is what, again, these are untranslatables. Okay, rasa is non-translatable. But the point is, water will cease to exist if you take out the rasa. So Krishna is the rasa. Raso aham, I, Krishna is saying. Apsu, my dear Kante, my dear Arjun, I am the taste of water. If you think like, oh, mineral water has some taste. If Krishna is removed, it will be like tasteless water, but I can still drink it. No, that's not the right understanding. This one line itself, many people misunderstand. Oh, Krishna makes the water sweet. So if Krishna is not there, I will have not so sweet water, but I will still have water. No, water will not exist because water is Krishna, or Krishna is in water and supporting the existence of water. It will not exist. So water is Krishna, Krishna is in water, either way. So that is the understanding that you need to have. Everything is Krishna. Raso aham apsu kaunteya. So in water, there is only rasa. There is nothing else in water. So if you remove that, there is no water. And that is Krishna. Prabhasmi shashi suryayoh. I am the Prabha. Prabha means not just the light. It says light. I mean, again, these are very non-translatables. It's everything that comes out of it's the very existence of the sun. It's not a sun which doesn't give light, or moon. Okay. Shashi. Now science, we can understand, oh, moon is not giving light. It is reflecting the light of the sun and this and that. Let's keep the scientific understanding aside. Okay. So the moon sun and moon don't exist. So Prabha means the energy of the Shashi and Surya. Pranavaha sarva vedeshu. Pranav is the Om. Om, that's the right pronunciation. Om, not Om. Actually, if you want to write Om in English, the closest is AUM, not OM. Okay. Om, that's the correct pronunciation. It's the joining of three sounds, A, U, and O. A, U, and M. Om. Anyway. So that is Pranava. If you take out the Pranava from the Veda, what is left in the Veda? You might as well throw it in the trash. It's not like, oh, just the Om is taken out. I can still make use of the rest of the Vedas. There is nothing else in the Vedas. Om is the basis of the Vedas. Shabdah khe. I am the sound or the shabda in ether. I'm not, again, going to go into deep details. This is for understanding what is kha and what is the sound or shabda of kha. You have to go deep into Sankhya philosophy. I cannot do that. And Paurusham Nrishu. Paurusham Nrishu. Nrishu means man or whatever, person. Paurusham, the ability in man. Otherwise, you're a dead man. So, Paurusham Nrishu. Okay, so Srasohamapsu Kaunteya Prabhasmi Shashi Suryayoh Pranavah Sarva Vedeshu Shabdah Khe Paurusham Nrishu. So that is verse number 8. Okay. So similarly, we understand all the remaining 3 verses, but very beautiful. So we'll go on for another 5. Are there any? If there are no questions, I'll keep going on. So raise your hand if you have questions. Otherwise, we'll utilize the next few minutes to go through some of these verses. Punyo gandha prithviyam cha tejascha asmi vibhavasau jivanam sarvabhuteshu taptaschasmi tapasvishu. So, punyo gandha prithvivyam cha. I am also the original fragrance of earth. All these things, the earth without fragrance is not earth. And teja cha asmi vibhavasau. In fire, what else is there other than teja? If there is no teja, it's not fire. Jivanam sarvabhuteshu. This is very obvious. Jivanam. He is the life of all living entities. We call them living entities. You have taken the word living away from it. It's just entities. So Jivanam sarvabhuteshu and tapascha tapasvishu. अभी तपस्वी में से तपस निकाल दिया तो बचा क्या? विषु बचा, विष बचा, पॉइजन. Just kidding. So tapascha tapasvishu. So if you take out tapas from tapasvishu, nothing is left. Tapa is the fundamental aspect of tapasvi. So that is Krishna. Cha asmi. So I am. Okay. So I am the original fragrance of the earth. I am the heat in the fire. I am the life of all that lives, and I am the penance of all ascetics. 10. Let's finish till 11, okay, which is this discussion. Bijam mam sarvabhutanam viddhi partha sanatanam buddhir buddhimatam asmi tejas tejasvinamaham. Beautiful verses, just absolutely astounding verses. Bijam mam sarvabhutanam. I am the bija of all bhutas, of all living entities. Vidhi, please know, Partha, Sanatanam. I am the Sanatana Bij, the original eternal Bij, which means that I am basically the Jiva, the living entity, the seed, Bija of all living entities, the eternal seed. And then Buddhir, Buddhimatam Asmi. Buddhi, same thing like, Tapah, Tapasvi. So Buddhimatam, if you take the Buddhi out, what is left? Buddhimatam, Buddhi. So Buddhir Buddhimatam Asmi. Tejas Tejasvinam Aham. Same thing. So within the Tejasvi, I am the Tejas. Then Balam Balavatam Chaham. Again, I am the Bal, I am the strength of the strong. Kama Raga Vivarjitam. Now here Krishna brings up a point that kind of Bala, I am that kind of Bala, which is Kama Raga Vivarjitam. Because Bala, so I provide the kind of Bala which is not supposed to be used for Kama and Raga, for sense gratification and for personal, agendas. Again, even that is Krishna. So again, this is also a deep point we won't go into. But I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. So the deep point we will cover in next class, that Krishna is above all these gunas of raga, dvesha, or sattva, rajas, tamas. Krishna is beyond these. We'll discuss that in the next class. Kama raga vivarjitam. Dharma viruddho bhuteshu kamo asmi bharatarshabha. And I am the dharma aviruddha, kama. So the sex desire or the sex life, which is dharma aviruddha in all living entities. So that propensity to reproduce and multiply for purposes of establishing or maintaining dharma. I am that. So I am the strength of the strong, devoid of passion and desire. I am sex life, which is not contrary to religious principles, O Lord of the Bharatas, Arjuna. So that is the first 11 verses. So the summary is Krishna is everything. And we discussed the 8 material energies, amongst which 5 are gross, 3 are subtle. Subtle means you cannot see or touch. Mind, intelligence, and ahamkara, you cannot see it, you cannot touch it, but within every living entity, you can feel it. So this whole discussion of what is mind, we did not do. What is intelligence or buddhi, that whole discussion is probably we will do at the 13th chapter, if time permits. Or if there is some subtle Q&A, we can do it as part of that as well. Okay. But mind basically is the one that offers various choices to the self, to the jiva, Buddhi, through the mind, also offers alternate choices, and ultimately the conditioned jiva makes the choice. So depending on the conditioning level of the jiva makes a certain choice, and either it reduces its material conditioning by making some kind of choice which is pleasing to Krishna, or it increases its conditioning by choosing things that are bahirmukha or away from Krishna. So that is the mind. Anyway, we'll go a little deeper into it on Sunday. Okay. Anyway, any questions? There is some more discussion. I had some more slides here. We will cover these on this aspect, some things more on this topic up to 12 in the next class. Yes, Ragatmika Mataji or Rajvidya Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can we had some clarifications from chapter 6. Can we ask that here?
Sure.
So 6.8 purport, Prabhuji. In that actually, Prabhupada is mentioning about spiritual saturation, right? So spiritual saturation by transcendental service. So I was trying to understand what does spiritual saturation mean. He is explaining the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu shloka. In that there is a spiritual when we are spiritually saturated by the transcendental service to the Lord, are the transcendental name, form, quality, and pastimes of the Lord revealed to us, to Him.
Yes,
So
this is a famous verse. So, okay, what's your question then?
what is the meaning of spiritual saturation, Prabhu? I'm trying to understand that.
Yes, spiritually saturated by the transcendental service to the Lord, which means sevon mukhe. That is the meaning of spiritually saturated, which means that one is completely absorbed. You can understand it like that.
Can we say it is samadhi?
Only when one becomes, just replace this selected text by completely absorbed in. So only when one becomes completely absorbed in the Lord are the transcendental name, form, quality, and pastimes of the Lord revealed to him. So spiritual saturation means complete absorption in. Okay, go ahead. Complete absorption in seva of the Lord. So seva, and in bhakti, seva is the most important component. And seva just doesn't mean massaging the feet. We have grown up, at least I have grown up thinking seva means, one of the first visions that comes to my mind of seva is to massage the feet. Okay, that is seva. Even chanting the name of Bhagawan is also seva. Okay, so sevo unmukh type of seva. Unmukh means seva which is pleasing to the Lord or which is favorable to the Lord. So spiritually, so seva, which is, again, and just, it doesn't have to be even chanting the name, even just mentally being absorbed. Manah Krishna niveshayet. Just being absorbed in Krishna is also seva. It is unmukh seva. So seva unmukha. So seva is very, very important. And just another verse from Srimad Bhagavatam that I really, really like, which completely brings out this seva aspect. Which one it is? Shyamlila Mataji, hard question for you.
Is it the तत्तेनु कंपान verse, Prabhuji?
उसमें सेवा कहाँ है भाई?
कि आप पूरा टाइम माइंड से, हार्ट से, बॉडी से, you're absorbed.
Fine. Another verse. Third canto.
Oh, third canto. No idea, Prabhuji.
This one. This was also on the test. Salokya sarishti samipya sarupya ekatvam apyuta diyamanam na grihananti vinamat sevanam jana. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful verse, and very, very quoted very often. You should memorize it. So this verse is saying that Salokya, all these 5 types of liberation, Salokya, not just impersonal. Even the personal liberation, salokya, samipya, sarupya, sarishti. Diyamanam, Bhagawan is saying, even if I give, diyamanam, na grihananti, my devotees don't accept it. Bina mats, vina means bina, without. Iske bina. Vina mat sevanam. If my seva is not added to it, they will not accept it. It's like if I give them plain roti, they will not accept it. They want it with achar. बिना अचार के रोटी नहीं चाहिए. तो मतलब बिना सेवा के मुक्ति नहीं चाहिए. Devotees tell the Lord, get lost. If no seva for you, I don't want liberation. So here you can see that for the devotee, seva is so important. And that is the same verse which is in Bhakti Rasamrit Sindhu 234. It's in fact one of the memorization verses. Atah Sri Krishna Namadi na bhave. This is a very deep verse. How come the spiritual potency of the holy name appears on our material indriya, indriyaihi? Because, not because of our effort, but because of our seva, unmukh seva, the name appears itself, swayam. The name decides, this guy is doing very good seva, let me go and appear on his tongue. So the name, Nam Prabhu, decides, let me go and appear on his tongue, my spirit, with the spiritual potency. Otherwise, it is just vocal cords vibrating. What is the difference? That is called, what is called? Man mein, muh mein Ram, bagal mein churi. So that is not seva unmukh. You have heard this? Muh mein Ram, bagal mein churi.
Yes.
Yes, right.
So that is not seva unmukh. So seva unmukh is when it is seva. Then Nam Prabhu says, let me go and sit on his tongue. And then the sfurti of the Nam happens. Okay? Now you understand? Spiritually saturated.
So Prabhuji, it will be incorrect to call it samadhi, right? This is not samadhi stage of.
Why not? It can be called samadhi. In bhakti, this verse is 100% about bhakti. So you can say the devotee who is always absorbed. Would you not say gopis are in samadhi?
Yeah.
Samadhi doesn't mean like sitting like this, Hiranyakashipu, and you have a whole, your body has decayed and you are only skeleton, and your trees have grown on top of you, and ant hill has grown on top of you. You are in samadhi. Samadhi doesn't mean that. Samadhi means complete absorption. So it's not that ascetics or tapasvi kind of samadhi. It is the gopis kind of samadhi.
Samadhau na vidhyate, samadhau samadhi.
All right.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Pure
Prabhuji.
devotees are always in samadhi.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you.
Prabhuji, one more question on the same
Purport.
same verse on the purport. We're talking about academic, transcendental, and realized knowledge, 3 levels here. And I saw the video of Maharaj, Guru Maharaj talking about 3 levels of consciousness, which is Gyanmay, Vijnanmay, and Anandmay. So do they map academic, transcendental, and realized knowledge? Do they map to Gyan, Vigyan, and Anandmay?
Roughly, yes, except I would say Jnanamay is more about the impersonal Brahman. Academic knowledge here is referring to more just basic academic knowledge which is given today for material success.
So this is below the this is at the material conscious level, not on the transcendental pivot of that graph.
Yeah. But I'll have to better understand what Maharaj says as Vijnanamaya.
Yeah, recently he did a Madhurya Kidambini.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have heard that, but I don't clearly remember
the-
exactly the
This is the map that he keeps showing all the time, right? So there are those 9 stages of bhakti on one side, and then 3 stages of transcendental consciousness on one side. And he has mapped them to, so Gyanmay has those sadhu sangha, Shraddha, sadhu sangha, and
That's what
and
I'm saying. So there is a spiritual aspect to it, but here when it is said that
academic knowledge is right here in this
but
purport
by
only.
mere academic knowledge, one can easily be deluded and confused by apparent contradictions. So here Srila Prabhupada is talking about the basic mere academic knowledge.
Okay. So there's that what philosophers and scientists have is
Yes,
that what it?
yes. What Srila Prabhupada is also referring here as no one can become Krishna conscious simply by mundane scholarship. So that is the academic knowledge as per my understanding here. But by bhajan kriya or sadhu sangha are, very important and necessary steps to make you Krishna conscious. They will make you Krishna conscious.
Okay. Okay, Prabhuji. Thank you. So we understand that now. This is not exact mapping. So one academic is below that
Yeah,
level.
I would say that below Jnanamaya.
Okay. Hare Krishna. Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
As the Jnanamaya is mapping to those levels of or stages of bhakti. Okay, anything else? All right, so next weekend we have class, right? Yeah, so we'll see you next weekend. We'll try to complete chapter 7. I doubt it a little bit, but we'll try our best to complete chapter 7 next weekend. That's it. And then we will also have the Sunday Sangha for Bhakti Shastri students. And we'll see you all next week. Tomorrow we have Bhagavatam class, Brahmana Patnis. If you want, you can join. And yeah, Sunday feast class I'm giving at the temple. And then Sunday evening will be the Bhakti Shastri class, the optional one. Okay, thank you very much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hare Krishna.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Prabhuji.
Prabhuji. Thank you,
Thank you,
Mataji.
Prabhuji.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Babuji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.